Now, after being at the Albert home for a period of time early that morning, you left the home approximately 1:40 a.m. or so?
Yeah, give or take 1:40, 1:45. I don't know the exact time.
And you walked out with your wife, Jennifer McCabe, and two of Brian Jr.'s friends, correct?
Yes, Brian's two friends were joining Jennifer and I. We were driving them home.
And whether you knew their names or not that night, you subsequently learned their names to be Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel?
That's correct.
And you all came out of the house together, correct?
Yeah, I don't recall who was where when we walked to the car, but we all left the house at the same time.
And directly in front of all of you was the front lawn, correct?
If I was to walk straight out the front door, yes, the front lawn's in front of me.
And when you were walking out, the black SUV was gone, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And when you first came out of the house facing that front lawn, you didn't see a black baseball cap, correct?
That's correct.
Or a black sneaker, correct?
That's correct.
Or 45 pieces of red plastic taillight, correct?
That's correct.
Or even one, correct?
That's correct.
And once again, you didn't see a 6'2" man lying on the front lawn, correct?
No, I wish I did, but I didn't.
As you were walking out with your wife and these two other women, none of them yelled that they saw anything like that, correct?
Correct.
And then you all piled into the vehicle which was in the driveway, correct?
Yes.
You and your wife got into the front, the driver's seat and the passenger seat, correct?
Yes, I sat in the driver's seat. My wife was in the passenger seat. I had to brush off the car, but that's where we sat.
And the other two women who were friends with Brian Jr. got into the second row passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
And I believe your testimony is you don't know who was where within that, but they did get in there.
Yes, they were behind us. I don't know who sat in what seat.
Once you got inside the vehicle, is that when you realized that you had left something back into the house?
I don't recall leaving something in the house.
I'm sorry?
I don't recall leaving something in the house. If I did, I did. I don't recall leaving something in the house.
You don't recall going back into the house?
No, I don't recall going back into the house.
If you went back into the house, the front lawn would have been directly in front of you from the driveway, correct?
The lawn would have been to my left, and I would have went up the walkway to the house.
Okay, well, that's my next question. When you went up the walkway, the front lawn would have been to your left, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then coming out, you would have had the same view that you'd had the first time, correct?
Yes, I would have come back out the same way down the steps to the left.
And without going through all the various items that I asked you about in terms of not seeing on the front lawn, the speaker, the cap, the tail light, et cetera, you didn't see any of that stuff at any point the second time, correct?
Correct. I did not see anything.
Okay, so now you're finally back in your vehicle and you are backing out of the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that to get to strike that. Is it fair to say that to drop the women off, your plan was to head toward Chapman Street?
Yes, that's what we did.
Which would mean that as you back out of the driveway, the rear end of your car would have been facing towards Cedar Crest.
Correct.
And then you would straighten out, and now you've got a straight shot up toward Chapman Street, correct?
Yes.
And it would also mean that you drove the length of the Albert's property, correct?
Yes.
While you did that, sir, Julie Nagel never said, "What was that?" Did she?
I did not hear Julie say that.
She never said she had seen a black object, correct?
I did not hear her say that.
She never said that she saw a black blob, correct?
I did not hear her say that.
And she didn't say that the black blob that she supposedly saw was 5 or 6 feet in length, correct?
Again, I did not hear her say it.
And she never said that she might have seen a person, correct?
I did not hear her. You talk about in the car?
Correct.
Yeah, I did not hear her say it in the car.
And you were right there driving, correct?
I was driving, obviously focused on the road. The windshield wipers, it was snowing pretty heavily.
You didn't have earplugs in.
I didn't, but they were all talking in the car.
You didn't have AirPods in.
No, I didn't.
Certainly not the noise cancellation AirPods, correct?
Correct. I did not have earpods in.
And you never stopped a car Because you never heard Julie Nagel say anything about anybody being in trouble, correct?
I did not hear her say it.
Okay. You woke up the next morning, as you said, to screaming, correct?
Yes.
The screaming was so loud that you thought that the person screaming was actually in your bedroom, correct?
That is correct.
That was, and it startled you, fair to say?
Yes, it did.
And then ultimately, you learned that Karen Reed ended up in your driveway, correct?
Yes.
You could hear her screaming outside, correct?
I could hear her outside, correct.
She was hysterical.
She was screaming, Jan. She just kept repeating Jan.
In a hysterical manner.
Yeah, Jan, Jan, yes.
And she was screaming so loud that she was in danger of waking up the whole neighborhood, correct?
She was loud, correct.
And other than screaming Jan, Jan in that hysterical tone, you really couldn't make out her words a lot of the time, correct?
Not when she was outside my house, no.
Skipping ahead to when you went back to Fairview that morning, it's fair to say that when you went, did you say that you went inside Fairview at maybe around 7 a.m.? Is that a good estimate?
Yeah, I don't know the exact time, but it would say, give or take, could be a little before, a little after, but somewhere in that vicinity.
And I believe you testified that the only people inside that you saw there were your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, in addition to Officer.
At that moment, that's who I recall seeing there.
Okay, so there were, and you didn't know where Brian Jr. was, whether he was sleeping, but you didn't see him.
I don't recall seeing him at that moment, no.
Okay. And Officer Lank was the only police official that you saw inside, correct?
At that moment, correct.
Okay. Now, in the days after January 29th, you participated in a group text exchange with 3 other people. Do you recall that?
Could you name the 3 people?
Sure. You had a group text chat going with your wife, Jennifer McCabe, your brother-in-law, Brian Albert, and your sister-in-law, Nicole Albert, correct?
Oh, yes.
I'd like to ask you some questions about that group text chat, if I might.
Sure.
You would agree with me that on February 1st of 2022, that was 3 days after John O'Keefe passed away, correct?
Yes.
And at some point on February 1st of 2022, you were physically either at or near the Albert home at 34 Fairview in Canton, correct?
I could have been. I don't recall if I was there.
Do you recall watching what investigators were doing in the neighborhood on February 1st?
I do not. If you could show it to me, I could maybe reflect my memory. I do not recall that specific day.
You don't recall monitoring what troopers were doing?
I was not monitoring anything that the troopers were doing. If I had driven down the street, dropping someone off, picking somebody up, and saw the troopers, then I saw the troopers. I was not monitoring anything.
Directing your attention to 1:34 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, troopers back out front, but in front of Asian house. Did you not?
If I texted that, you could show it to me.
May I approach you, Mike?
Yes.
Oh, 2-150.
No, show it to him, don't.
I'm sorry.
Attach it?
Oh, you show it to me.
Show it to
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Miller,
sorry.
and don't reference what it is.
You think this is my first try? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm showing you a document, sir, and if you look up or look at it
Do
by
you
yourself
have,
and
do
look
you
up at me
have
when you're done.
glasses with you?
I don't use glasses, but I can't see this. So maybe I need glasses. I'm making it out. I got it.
I do have
Is it a light?
No, he says he doesn't
No, it's
wear
not. It's just dark, but I got it. Go up the front. What the hell? Who is
If you're struggling, I do.
I'm reading mine, right? The middle one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You take
yeah.
all your time, the time. you
Yep,
need.
I got it. Yep, I see it.
Okay. If I may just grab that
Yes.
back.
Thank you.
Having reviewed that document, is your memory refreshed?
I see that I texted what you said I texted. The troopers were outside of the house, yes.
Right, that's my question. This is a page that contains the group text that you had with Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, correct?
Yes,
And in terms of the question that I asked you, you now acknowledge that you testified troopers back out front, but in front of Asian House, correct?
that's correct.
Mr. McCabe, what is an Asian House?
The next door neighbors to the Alberts were Asian.
So you mean that a family of Asian origin lived next door?
Yes,
They were the next door neighbors to your brother-in-law and sister-in-law?
correct. They lived, if you come out of Fairview, they lived to the right of the Alberts.
And did you know their last name was the Chungs?
I had no idea that I've never met them. I don't know their last names. I just knew it was an Asian family next door.
And you didn't feel the need to ask their names or try to call them by their names?
I've never met them, sorry.
Objections sustained. You know what, Ms. Giannetti, let's come to sidebar, please.
When you did tell the group chat about the troopers being at that house, nobody asked you to clarify which house you were talking about, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Did anyone ask you to clarify?
Nobody asked me to clarify that I recall.
In fact, Brian Albert responded with just a question right now. Do you recall that?
Yes, I think that was on the screen you just showed me.
And you responded yes, correct?
Did I get to see all the text or no?
And with the court's permission,
Yes.
I'm going to give you the previous page in case you need it.
Just give it to him.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'll just give you one, and if you need the other, just let me know.
No problem. Thank you.
And again, just look at it silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
So am I to assume where you said Brian Albert said right now?
Yeah, would you like to see that?
So would that be the last one and then this is the next one?
What you,
I'm just making sure.
I understand, I appreciate that. You tell me.
Okay,
If with the court's permission.
Sure.
thank you. Yep, that's what I was just looking for.
I may collect the document.
I didn't read the rest of it.
No, take your time, please.
Okay, thank you.
You?
You're welcome.
You would agree with me that after you told the group in this group text that the troopers were back out front, in front of that house, Brian Albert's response was, right now?
Yes,
And then you said yes, correct?
yes,
And then Brian Albert replied, okay, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. As of the reading,
Oh, is that how he replied?
that's what it just said, yes.
All right. Now, at that point, you texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing, correct?
I didn't see that on the text.
And you don't deny that you said that in the text,
Can you
correct?
show me the text, please?
Oh, sure. Oh, did you say you didn't see it in the
I
text?
didn't see that,
I'm
no.
sorry. I think that's probably because I didn't give it to you. May I approach?
Yes. Have you shown those both to Mr. Lally?
That's the next page after this one. I'm showing you 2 pages.
Okay,
So again, read it to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
Do you have a phone with a flashlight on you?
I don't have a phone on me. If you have a flashlight, I'd be able to see it.
Do you mind? Oh,
Just
Nancy. Madam Court Reporter, Mr. Clerk. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, much better. I got it now.
Grab that from you.
Thanks.
Having reviewed that, do you acknowledge that you texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing?
Yes, I said I was going to try to take a photo.
All right. You would agree with me that you were watching what was going on, correct, on February 1st?
No, I just happened to be driving through the neighborhood at that moment.
So you happen to be driving through, and then you texted the group to tell them what you saw, correct?
Yes.
And then you didn't just keep driving up the road and leave the area, did you?
I think I did.
Well,
I don't, unless you tell me I went back, I think I did. I said I was going to try to take a picture.
right, well, that's my point.
Yeah.
You weren't, just having seen the troopers back out there at that house, in your mind, you still weren't done, correct?
I was going to take a picture to show them, oh, the troopers are outside your house.
Right, so in answer to my question, you weren't done with that scene, correct?
I think I was, because I don't know if I took a picture.
Well,
I think I went through. I mentioned I was going to try to take a picture. I don't know if I took a picture or not.
you didn't intend to be done at that point, correct?
I didn't intend to be done.
Right, because you wanted to take a picture of what was going on.
I was going to take a picture to show them that troopers were outside in front of the house.
You wanted
Correct.
to continue to monitor what was going on, did you not?
I was not monitoring what was going on. I just happened to drive by at that moment.
May we be seen at sidebar?
Okay.